Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is our video presentation for IMR504 classification and filing system. This is our final project for this subject. So our group choose organization. The organization is Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang. So next member will continue our presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Fatin AZYZE and this is an introduction to classification and filing system for our group assignment. Now, the first question, what is classification? Now, the process of identifying and categorizing objects or ideas is known as classification. Second question, what is filing? Filing is a type of record keeping in which vital information for important documents such as reports, invoices, letters, and so on is carefully and systematically preserved. Any effective business activity requires quick and simple admittance to important data and reported proof. Each organization needs a framework or a system that places records into groups or categories or classifications and incorporates naming conventions and documents of our codes to portray them. The framework or the system is applied to records as an actual documenting system, electronic folders and subfolders, and electronic indexing and search systems. Now, the definition of a file classification scheme, according to the United Nations, is that it is a device or tool that considers classifying, naming, and accessing and recovering records. It is introduced as a progressive construction of order levels and depends on the business exercise that creates records in a particular hierarchical business setting. Now, the concept of document filing is widely understood, and this method has been used for many years. It is quite a visual tool and very simple to develop. Now, the filing system serves as the physical location in which a document will be filed. Traditionally, this entails servers, shares on the network, folders or subfolders where documents are stored. Employees frequently create a filing structure to aid in the identification of the information. This is frequently done by using a folder and subfolder structure to categorize the documents based on different subjects. Now, classification levels. The classification levels are the levels of particularity with a file classification scheme ordinarily having three significant parts. The first one, called functions, is very broad, which includes categories. The second one is called activities. It is narrower subsets of each functions. The third one is transaction. It is much more narrower and more specific subsets of activities. Now, document filing has the advantage of being extremely simple to set up. However, it has a significant limitation. A document can only be filed in one location, otherwise it is risk being duplicated. Given that one of the primary goals of implementing the folder structure is to group documents into logical groups, each document is therefore limited to a single logical group. Naturally, an employee will file a document in the logical group that, in their opinion, has the strongest connection with the document. They will then be able to locate this document using the same method. However, another employee may choose a different logical group in which to file the documents, resulting in a duplicate of data. They may even try to find the documents in a different logical group, and they might be unsuccessful, or they might be unsuccessful, or they might not find documents easily. Now, the objectives of the filing system. The primary objective of the filing process are to ensure proper arrangement, careful storage, and easy to access of the records. Now, the followings are the goals which are expected from an efficient filing system. Number one, to collect the documents. The process of preserving records and documents is known as filing. Documents and records must be collected from various sources to be preserved, which results in the goal of filing is to collect the documents. Number two, to preserve the documents. Now, the documents gathered should be properly preserved. The documents must be properly filed to avoid loss and to keep them safe from insects, thieves, rats, and water, among other things. Number three, to provide evidence. The office receives critical information and documents that will be extremely useful in the future. These documents may be required in the future to resolve a misunderstanding or a dispute. Filing assists in providing evidence by properly and systematically preserving such important files. Number four, to provide information. Filing saves a variety of important documents containing vital information. When necessary, filing assists in providing the information to shareholders, customers, suppliers, or even the government. Number five, to provide promptness in work. Generally, the office's daily operation are carried out with the assistance of previous records. The systematic filing of records aids in the speed of work. The filing process also allows you to obtain information without wasting time. And the last one, number six, to provide guidance. The process of filing previous records and documents can serve as a guide for office staff in carrying out their duties. It guides new employees and assists existing employees in carrying out their duties and responsibilities effectively. Now, the value of a filing system. In the business world, staying organized is critical. While many documents have gone digital, physical documents still exist, and many businesses or organizations most likely still have them. According to Zinkel 2021, a filing system is important because 1. It keeps the documents safe. Many important documents can be held by a company and they must be kept safe. An organized filing system can keep these important documents safe because they are less likely to be lost or misplaced if they are kept in a specific location. Number 2, it improves efficiency. Having a file organization system in place can immediately increase efficiency. Having a filing system that sorts documents based on a name, date, or something else can help you find documents quickly. Organizations can be more productive and save time by not having to sort through hundreds of documents. Instead, they can quickly find what they need. Number 3, it keeps everyone on the same page. An organized filing system not only improves efficiency, but also keeps everyone on the same page. Communication is essential in the workplace, and ensuring that items are in the proper place and in order can have a positive impact on any businesses. And the last one, number 4, it reduces costs. Storage can easily cost a fortune, but by staying organized with a filing system, costs can be reduced. For this to happen, the organization must go through documents regularly and discard any that are no longer required. After all, you don't want these extra documents to take up space. Next, organizational impact of improper classification and filing system. Records and documents management is an often overlooked and undervalued procedure in many businesses. While a strong, well thought out record management and classification process can help organizations become more efficient and effective, and an ineffective classification and filing system can result in cluttered and incomprehensible workspace, irritable employees, and information loss. An inefficient classification and filing system, as well as poor record management, can cripple a business, halting efficiency, sucking up valuable time, and causing unnecessary stress for employees. Bad record management and inefficient classification and filing system cause a cascade of problems, which can be disastrous when you need your records for things like taxes, budget, or payroll. Although it may go unnoticed at times, it has a wide range of consequences, and if not caught early enough, it can have a large enough impact to force a company to close its doors. According to Helinski 2020, improper classification and filing system can lead to problems such as 1. Excessive time spent sorting through disorganized filing cabinets. 2. Valuable office space is used to store paperwork, forcing the company to pay premium prices for document storage. Number 3. Files are misplaced, buried, and lost. Number 4. The communication between co-workers deteriorates. And number 5, employees' stress levels rise as finding and sharing information becomes unnecessarily difficult. Also, according to Helinski 2022, there are a few ways to tell if your record-keeping practices need to be tweaked. You can determine if your practices or processes are putting you at a risk for long-term consequences by simply asking yourself a few questions. First question, how quickly can you track your things down? Can you always find the exact location of any records? If your record-keeping process results in cluttered and disorganized archives, you may end up losing time and productivity during daily work, while you and your employees search for needed information. If you face legal action or an audit, some laws penalize businesses for failing to provide information promptly. Now, the second question, do you have multiple copies of records? Is there more than one version of the same document floating around the office? If this is the case, revision and edits made by different people may be lost, overlooked, or overwritten, making it difficult, if not impossible, to ensure that all your records remain up to date and do not result in later discrepancy in numbers and information. The third question, do you track record retention and destruction period? Are you aware of the retention period for your various records? Is there a strategy in place to track them? Many types of business documents are required by law to be kept for a specific period, and throwing them out too soon or keeping them too long can result in thousands of money in fines. Now, the last question, the fourth question. Do you have a backup plan for your record? What if there is a fire or a data breach and all your records are suddenly lost. It's critical to have a backup plan in place for keeping copies of records in a secondary location, whether that's through offsite storage, backup tape rotation, cloud storage, or a backup server. Now, the last one for our introduction and classification and filing system, current issues in classification and filing system. Now, archive philosophy and research in the 20th century were created on historical documents and archival interpretation. With the introduction of digital media, more emphasis was placed on recording management, but this quickly shifted to digital preservation. Nowadays, numerous challenges in records management are related to classification and filing systems. Each of these challenges may not pose a significant risk to record management because the filing system will always improve. However, these flaws are visible enough to cause concern among record management professionals. Now, the first issue is with the alphabetical system of the classification system. Alphabetical system are the most natural and widely used methods of file organization. However, alphabetically file classification is not always the quickest method, and finding papers in large corporations can take a long time. The disadvantage of alphabetical reporting is that incorrect filing documents are impossible to achieve and discover. The numerical filing system is the second issue. Numeric filing requires coding time if there are no numbers yet. If a number is automatically assigned, it can be changed, or an unused number can be discarded. This may cause issue when attempting to obtain non-current records. The use of geographical classification is the third point to consider. This classification approach is used to sort the files based on the location or address of the people or parties to whom they pertain. The problem with this approach is that it can only be used with an alphabetically grouping. Now, last one. There is an issue with subject classification. This method collects all entries relevant to a specific topic into a single file. This method has some drawbacks, one of which is that it is not suitable for sending multiple records. If the subject's classification is not widely known, it may be difficult to locate a text. A thorough index is required if the number of subject is large. And that's all for introduction of classification and filing system. We'll continue with the next part.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is BINTI ROSLAN, and I will be explaining the organization background for the Tanjung Karang Fire and Rescue Station. So the Tanjung Karang Fire and Rescue Station was founded as an extension of the fire services provided by the district office and local council that was first founded on September 6, 1963. Okay, so the size of the fire station is around 3,600 square feet, and on July 15, 2009, the Tanjung Karang Fire and Rescue Station also completed their renovations as the old station was demolished and replaced with a new building. So, okay, next is their vision and mission. So, the vision of the Tanjung Karang Fire Rescue Station is to create excellence by transforming productive career culture and a conducive environment, and to be a successful rescue and firefighting organization. Meanwhile, their mission is to be a high efficiency fire and rescue organization to provide professional fire and rescue services in order to save lives and belongings for the well-being of the community and to create a well-structured work culture through the implementation of a conducive environment. Okay, so next is their organizational chart. Okay, as you can see here, this is the organizational chart of the fire station. It is led by the assistant superintendent atau ketua balai, and it is followed up by the pengawal operasi or senior fire officer 1, and under him would be the pengawal penyelia, and which they will lead their own teams, which is the pasukan-pasukan, as we can see here. Okay, next is the function and activities of the station. The station has a lot of function and responsibilities, but I will only explain some of them. Okay, the first is to collect, appraise, and organize condensed information. They have to do these steps in order to find the information that is related to fire safety. Next is to provide fire rescue equipment, communication tools, and self-defense tools to their subordinate organizations. So they will have a lot of subordinate organization that they will have to provide for in order for the subordinate organization to perform their tasks well. Next is to strengthen understanding cooperation among members. They have the responsibility to increase the understanding and cooperation among the members of the fire station in order for them to perform their task well. And next is awareness, which is to promote awareness of fire hazards and fire prevention measures to the general public. This is a very important step for the fire station, as we may have previously experienced. They may do campaigns in certain organizations or even public organizations such as schools. And yeah, okay.
Thank you for the presentation. So I will continue our presentation. So before that, my name is NOOR Iffah binti AAZMI. My ID number 2020896886. So I will continue this presentation. So I will tell about the classification and filing system for the Balai Bomba dan Tanjung Karang, Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang. So first, I will tell you about manual developed by Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang. So Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang categorized and filing system provide effective and methodological control over the production, maintenance, disposal, evidence, and information pertaining to Balai Bomba operation and transaction. So their record management system include numerous programs such as categorized files and new file creation. As a result, Balai Bomba record officer overseeing the organization file system. So this manual also defines several words, including file organization, public office, government corporation, and public record. So it also specifies the requirement and method for gathering file classification, implementing functional file system, file classification, and updating public office classification. Then it goes over the classification file hierarchy, coordination or separation marks such as full stop, dash, and slash, routing, classification code on file and letter, and lastly updating file classification. So record awam and record urusan awam record of general affair. Meanwhile, I working on a functional affair record, that is like record urusan fungsian. So what is a record awam? Record awam is under the National Archive Act of 2003, record 1 is defined as a record officially issued by any government office during its operation. So at the time of the commencement of this act, the government as well as any record in the custody or control of the National Archive of Malaysia Act created under the National Archive Act 1996 at 511. Record what is important since it is offer information that can promote national awareness as well as serve as a key source for government and public reference. So record also contain information that may be applied to preserve and protect the right and interests of the government and people. So what's the record urusan awam? Record urusan awam as record that assist the department machinery, past laborers and time consumers, such as record on national issue such as administration, land management, building infrastructure, asset, financial and human resources. So the code is centered on administration, land management, construction and infrastructure, asset, finance and human resource management. So for the administration is 100, 200 land management, 300 building and infrastructure, 400 financial, 500 is human resource management. So lastly, what about record urusan fungsian? Record urusan fungsian is also a record of the department specialized tasks and operation such as record on Balai Bomba and Penyelamat Tanjung Karang, for instance code 200 for infrastructure dan latihan. Furthermore, field classification, which consists of function, activities and recognized transaction, should be group hierarchy structure beginning with function, activities, sub-activities and transaction. So what is standard developed by Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang? The implement and use of a file categorized and filing system must therefore be in conformity with and complies to Malaysian standard, the national standard in an accreditation organization. Malaysian standard was identical to ISO 5489/2001 information and documentation, record management part 1 MS 2223/2009. It defines how to manage document for source organization, whether public or private, for internal and external client. So furthermore, Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang follow the Malaysian standard, which was the same as MS ISO 9001/2015. Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang use quality management system standard to demonstrate their ability to consistently provide product services that meet customer and regulatory requirement. To comply with the law, they use to serve as a tool to control operation, to provide quality service, and as the best method for continuous improvement. Thank you. That's all for me.
Assalamualaikum, my name is NOOR BINTI ROSLI. I will continue the presentation about analysis of the classification and filing system. I will start with Are there any guidelines related to filing system developed for internal users? For your information, Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang filing system is based on rank. Highest ranking fire station could be more files that they store in their repository. It is because it will be easier to manage the file based on the same guideline. Next, the arrangement of file for access and retrieval. Okay, the arrangement of files in Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang is the same as a standard filing system and it was confirmed by the interviewee. Then, are there any access privilege to protect records confidentiality implemented? According to the person we interviewed, there is certain access that can only be accessed by the fire station chief, which means any records that are confidential only can access by the fire chief of Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang. We go to the next slide. Okay, the file storage procedure applied in Balai Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Karang. The procedure is applied by the Malaysian standard, which was the same as MS ISO 9001-2015. The file code method has been set by the department. Then we go to file circulation being managed, movement of file. Every movement of the file will be recorded on the cover of the file, and the procedure to develop file classification has 6 steps, which is: first is preparation of file classification discussion. Second, formation of the preparatory work team. Third, file classification preparation. Fourth, harmonization of file classification. And fifth, file classification code preparation. And sixth, create a file classification manuals. Lastly, are there any training related to classification and filing system required or implemented for internal users? Okay, based on the interview, the relevant training is guided by the schedule set by the daily task schedule in administrative matters that was set by the interviewee. The officer who involved need to go to training and have to take care the repository. That's all from me. Thank you.
Now we will look at the sample of their filing system. They have two categories of files, which are housekeeping/administrative files and functional/operational files. First, for housekeeping/administrative files, they used the tag 100 for pentadbiran. Under pentadbiran, they have three activities, which are perundangan, Akta Bomba, and Akta Perkhidmatan Bomba 1988. In perundangan, they have two sub-activities, which are Akta/Enactment Ordinance Rang Undang-Undang Pasukan Bomba. The second one is Jurnal Pendakwaan tahun 2017. For Akta Bomba, they have three sub-activities, which are jadual pertama, kesalahan-kesalahan terhadap tata tertib, jadual kedua, cara-cara penyiasatan, dan jadual ketiga, hukuman-hukuman untuk kesalahan-kesalahan terhadap tata tertib. And the third activities have four sub-activities, which are Akta Perkhidmatan Bomba Pindaan 1991, Akta Perkhidmatan Bomba Pindaan 1994, Akta Perkhidmatan Bomba Pindaan 2018, and Peraturan Perkhidmatan Bomba, Perakuan Bomba Pindaan 2020. Next is fast for functional/operational files. They use tag 200 for infrastructure dan latihan. Under the tag 200, they have two activities, which are tadbir urus dan latihan and program khusus bomba. Under tadbir urus dan latihan, they have three sub-activities, which are JK latihan KKP, JK promosi KKP, and fasa 3 latihan bomba. Under program khusus bomba, they have 6 sub-activities, which are the first one is program persediaan menghadapi monsun timur laut dan perkongsian ilmu, program kerja pemantauan operasi JBPM bersama agensi pusat dan KPKT, peranan JBPM dalam membendung penularan COVID-19, and under kawat, jadual tugasan harian kawat tangga dan kelas akta, latihan kawat kaki, and yearly.
Okay, next I will be explaining the recommendation of the filing system. First is converting physical documents into digital copies, as most organizations have begun to switch to a paperless system or a hybrid of it. This is also done in order to reduce waste or reduce the need of using paper, as well as reducing the waste that comes from disposing outdated documents. Next is encryption. It is highly advised that files that may contain sensitive information that the organization doesn't want unauthorized personnel to look at should be secured through encryption. Um, uh, Another way that can be done is through creating password security, so that unauthorized personnel wouldn't be able to access these documents. And next is schedule. It is important that the organization conduct inventory checks at least once a year to improve management of records in the organization. This includes how the organization is also advised to occasionally back up their files, as well as conduct version checks in order to make sure that they are using or keeping the correct version of the file, in order so that the organization wouldn't create mistakes such as editing files that are outdated. Okay, next is finally the conclusion. So it is an undeniable fact that how crucial it is to have an effective systematic filing system in order to ensure information is easily accessible for the organization and as well as secure. A good filing system is both difficult and costly to create, but the functionality that it brings to the table makes the hassle worth the trouble. And that is all from us. Thank you.